Program is paid for by Barbara Arnwine.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Urban One Incorporated, Radio One, or any of its subsidiary companies.
It's time now for Igniting Change, a weekly provocative and empowering program where you, the listener, can ignite change. Now here's your host, Barbara Arnwine.
Get up, stand up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Igniting Change. We are talking to you today from the mighty city of New Brunswick, New Jersey. Yes, we are on the road. The Transformative Justice Coalition and all of our mighty partners are doing a GOTV, Get Out the Vote, effort in New Jersey. Yes, it's totally nonpartisan, but it is about making sure that people know it's time to vote, because if you have family, friends, or if you live in New Jersey, know that early voting started on Saturday, and it will continue. The election will be on November 4th. So we are so happy to be here. Let me bring up my mighty co-host. You know who I'm talking about, one of the most dynamic attorneys in this nation, one of the most strategic organizers that you will ever see. I'm talking about the chair of the board of the Transformative Justice Coalition, Daryl Jones. Hey, Daryl.
Hey, Barbara, it must be Tuesday, must be noon Eastern Standard Time, because we're talking about igniting change. What an incredible time we're going through in New Jersey right now, Barbara, trying to ignite change all throughout this state. My goodness, the state is on fire, and I tell you, TJC and the fellows are really at it.
Absolutely. And we are literally, folks, as we're talking to you, we are riding through New Brunswick in our John Lewis Good Trouble Vote bus. And it is drawing attention. It's reminding everybody it's time to vote. And we have with us our Freedom Riders, and they are amazing. And you're going to hear from some of them today, and you're going to hear more about everything that we are going to be doing while we're here, because we intend to be in Jersey until we finish on November the 4th. So we are so happy to welcome you to this show. Daryl, as we've been rolling, we've met some mighty people, have we not?
Without question, Barbara, I mean, all kinds of mayors and city council persons and alder persons, I mean, all kinds of community activists, members of the school board, all through Atlantic City, Camden, all over the place, Barbara. We just really met some folks that are community changers and that are in it for the purposes of trying to make New Jersey better, not bitter. It's just an incredible opportunity that our freedom fighters have had to see grassroots operations on how to get the vote out, from homeless shelters all the way through to everything else, Barbara. It's just been an incredible journey so far, and we got so much more to go.
Yes, and I hope, Stanley, I hope that Mayor Marty Small Sr. of Atlantic City has been able to join us, because we turned it out in a mighty Atlantic City yesterday. Mayor Small, are you there, sir? Okay. All right. Okay. So we are waiting for the mayor to join us, and we will, proceed once when he arrives, we will begin to do his set of questioning. But let us start then with Mr. Right, because he's anyway. Let us, get started, and let me start with one of our amazingly wonderful, active, great I can't even begin to use enough adjectives to describe the people who are on this bus, these young, amazing freedom riders who have come from Florida, who have come from Pennsylvania, who have come from Illinois, who are with us. And we are going to have a mighty show today. So let me start by welcoming Makayla Myers. I'm sorry. Let me start actually by welcoming Cameron Barnes. Cameron Barnes is our team leader. He is one of the most amazing young activists in this country. He is the political director, the youth political director for the Rainbow Push Coalition. Yes, you say Rainbow Push, that's Jesse Jackson. You know that's right. It is definitely Jesse Jackson, and we are here with his National Political Youth Director, and that is none other than the Reverend Cameron Barnes. Hey, Cameron.
Attorney Arnwine and Attorney Jones, always so great to be with TJC as a fellow. As a freedom rider, you know, we've done this all across the country, and it's so great for the John Lewis bus to first time ever be in New Jersey, of course.
Yes. And Cameron, tell people, because you've done these activations, why is it so important, in your opinion, that you would take time to travel here to the state of New Jersey from Illinois? Why was it so important that you be here?
Well, as you mentioned before, when it was polled, 60% of people in New Jersey didn't even know. 3 out of 5 people had no idea that there was an election. And, of course, I'm from Chicago. I've never been in New Jersey. This is my first time in New Jersey. But I have an understanding that the political implications in other states certainly have ramifications where I am. And so if we don't, as you mentioned to us, Attorney Arnwine, it's hard to get someone to vote again if they haven't voted once. It's even harder if they miss 2 or 3 elections and then they really never come back to the voter roll. We are going to need the people of New Jersey to continue voting, because what's happening all across the country with a lot of different redistricting, with a lot of different maps being redrawn, if we don't have the proper representation in other states, they're going to come from my state too. And I want us to be protected not only in Chicago, but, of course, all across the country. So, yes, I came from Chicago all the way here, and I'm very glad to be here.
Yes, and I'm sure, Daryl, that you have a question for Cameron, because you work closely with Cameron over these years. We have seen him grow, and not only in his ministry, but we've seen him grow as a leader, and he is just an amazing young leader. I know you have a question for Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron, you're there with other TJC fellows from different parts of the country, and you're now had the opportunity to interact with some folks that are, certainly some that have been unhoused, some of the homeless that are here in New Jersey. Can you share with our listeners, what that was like to interact with the folks that are on the ground here in New Jersey that are unhoused or homeless? And how does it compare to other interactions you've had across the country on different ventures with us?
Absolutely. I mean, the people of New Jersey are certainly in their own echelon, if you will. We've had a whole lot of people who have just seen us and have been extremely glad that we are here. So many people. First of all, on Sunday, the churches that we went to, the churches well received so many young people. It was amazing to, in some ways, be kind of recognized as we would stand in the different sanctuaries, and the way people from the youngest to the oldest in the room would look around at all of us from, as you mentioned, from Florida, from Philadelphia, from Chicago, and just understanding what it is that we're doing. And then even on top of that, what I really liked, and I want the national audience to hear, is that those who were in the unhoused community that we went to were not ill-informed, were not disengaged, wanted to be able to vote, were happy that we were there. And so I want people on the national stage to even know in your different cities that the people of New Jersey, even those that are unhoused, if they are so excited to vote, then other people need to be reaching out to the unhoused in their communities and letting them know that those who are unhoused, just because of that, they still have a right to vote. They can use those addresses. They were very happy to receive us, and so we've been having a wonderful time with the people of New Jersey.
All right. Wow. And Daryl, we want everybody to know that yesterday we rolled through the mighty town of Bridgeton. We went to Pleasantville. We went to Atlantic City. But before then, we had spent the day in Trenton. All right, now we don't play. And while we were in Trenton, we went to 4 mighty churches and spoke with their congregations. And you know what I love the most? And I want you, Angel, to tell people, Angel, why it was so beautiful when we got to the polling spot and we saw people voting who were from those churches. They came to vote. Tell people why you are here from Florida. Yes, why are you here doing this mighty outreach?
Hello. Yes, it was a lovely experience seeing the people from church come to the polling location that we showed them that it was time. But why am I here from Florida? I'm here from Florida because voting rights affects everybody the same, whether it's in the communities that we see, whether it's the voter apathy that we see. It is something that is similar across the nation. And even though we're nonpartisan, I just missed it. Sorry. Nothing. I lost my shit per se.
Okay, so that's so wonderful. Thank you, Angel. And we had another person who was going to join us, but she can't today. She lives here in New Jersey, but we have not the second best. We have the best, and that is Makayla Myers. Makayla is an incredible activist from the state of Pennsylvania. She is just a mighty force in the NAACP and is the Pennsylvania state director for the coordinator, I guess I should say, for the youth and college branches of the NAACP. Now, Makayla, you have lived here in Jersey before, on and off. And as you see this bus rolling, and as you getting out and talking with people, why was it important for you to be here in this moment?
Yes, first and foremost, I just want to thank Transformative Justice Coalition, my fearless leader, Dr. Barbara Arnwine, the iconic attorney, and my other mentor, Daryl Jones. This trip has been transformative for me through and through. This is my first time ever being on an activation with Transformative Justice Coalition since I had graduated in D.C. of 2024. And being here in Jersey, currently living in Philadelphia, but being here in Jersey has just been so eye-opening and empowering because even though I live in Philadelphia now, being attached to these communities, as communities like Salem, communities like Bridgeton, communities like Camden, and seeing people who look like me, who I maybe even neighbors, people who I work with, and seeing how their communities are being impacted by things like voter suppression and voter disenfranchisement. Being here in Jersey it was so important for me to come from Philadelphia, even though we do have our Supreme Court election.
Right, which is major. Tell people about it because people need to know.
Yes. So currently right now in the state of Pennsylvania, we have 3 judges, 3 Supreme Court judges who are currently sitting on the bench. Their term is up for, I would say, reconsideration. And we really, with the mission of Transformative Justice Coalition, we're nonpartisan. But these judges are protecting people's right to vote, challenging the gerrymandering, challenging the gerrymandering. Oh, I'm sorry. Challenging the gerrymandering, challenging the, I want to say, extremists. Yes, the white nationalists. And making sure that no matter if you're blue, black, or purple, that you're able to cast your ballot safely. So if you're listening to this and you are in the state of Pennsylvania, please make sure that you are going through the entire ballot. If you have a paper ballot that you're doing, flipping it to the back to make sure that you're voting yes or no. And if you are on the digital tabulators, that you are actually going down to the questions, because it's going to ask you if you want to retain the judges, yes or no, and that's all you have to do.
Right.
It's 3 judges, and we really do need them to protect our rights, because other than that, we're going to see some things in Pennsylvania that we're already seeing across the country, things like Florida, rollbacks and such and such. But in the state of Jersey, while we are here, it is so important that I am here, even with that going on in my current state, because Jersey needs young people to get out and vote.
Whoa, say it.
And these communities, because they have been told that their vote has not been important to this point, we're here to let them know that it is important. We're here to let them know that they do have rights, and that if we don't advocate now, if you are not taking your seat at the table, then you're going to be on the menu, like my dear friend Edward.
All right now. Wow, Daryl, that was something. And everybody, I wish you were with us, because you could, if you're sitting where we're sitting on the bus right now, we're watching all these mighty members of the NAACP of New Brunswick. They are pulling up. They're getting their cars taped, Daryl, with these flyers and with their posters and the placards, and they're getting ready to roll. Look at all of those cars. We were told there might be one. Look at all these cars that have showed up. It's so impressive. We're so happy. Daryl, I believe we've been joined by the mayor. Is that correct? Not yet. When Mayor Small gets on, we will be able to move to that, to questions for him. He is expected on momentarily.
Right. And Makayla, is Makayla still there, Barbara?
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm here.
And Makayla, one of the things you had an opportunity to do while you were in Atlantic City was to go to the boardwalk and go to the convention center, conference center, where Fannie Lou Hamer delivered that incredible speech in 1965.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share with folks what that was like?
Yes. So I'm going to be completely transparent with our listeners today.
Yes.
Before coming to Atlantic City and going to the conference center, I did not know much about Fannie Lou Hamer's story. But knowing that she was a trailblazer, a Black woman that was bold and proud and fearless to even go into this political, mainly white male-dominated space, and be fearless in the fact that she wanted to advocate for all people to have a seat at the table, even though she was double marginalized as a Black woman. Honestly, it inspired me. It inspired me, knowing that even with the physical attacks, the violent attacks on her house, on her person, and her still being able to deliver that amazing message there in Atlantic City. Honestly, I didn't know we had things so close to, I guess, both my homes. And so now I feel like that is a story that we need to continue to uplift, and we need to empower, because young Black women or even older Black women who are more seasoned and educated and fearless in their own right, they deserve to know that history, because if you don't know your history, then you don't know your future.
Right.
So
You can't prepare.
right, you can't prepare. And so we don't want to take away our own power by not educating ourselves and each other. And that's just about it.
Right. You know, it's fascinating, Daryl, that statue to Fannie Lou Hamer was installed in 2019, I believe. And her speech was in 64, everybody, in 64 at the Democratic National Convention, where they were trying to seat an all-white delegation for Mississippi, and the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party was there with its multiracial delegation saying, "Feed us instead." And they didn't want to hear Fannie Lou Hamer making it clear to people that it was time. This is 10 years, people, 10 years after Brown versus Board, 10 years after Brown versus Board, and 1 year before we would have a Voting Rights Act of 1965. So her story is so legendary because she was so powerful that President Lyndon Baines Johnson was afraid to let the nation hear her speak. So he called a fake press conference. And so, Angel, I know you are such a respecter of our culture, such an incredible, activist. What do you want to say? What do you want to say about what it meant to be in Atlantic City at Boardwalk Hall, seeing that statue and all those pictures telling the story of Fannie Lou Hamer?
Yes. Fannie Lou Hamer, such a lovely inspiration, as you guys were saying. My soror, a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and that is one of the only things I actually knew about her before this trip. So I am very excited to dive deep into the detail of her story, to be encouraged by her the things that she went through and the things that she overcame, the community that she encouraged, her not being traditionally educated, her still not letting that turn her around, her bringing people together that are unlikely, her being in a room, like you were saying, of all white men and not allowing it, and not allowing that to be intimidating to her. That is something that I pull from being a soft-spoken person. And it was incredible to see her power and her voice in the statue, a copper statue, and I love art. The pictures that they chose in the museum were very timeless. You can see the passion and the focus in their faces as they were sitting there in the movement, in the zone. And I'm just blessed to be a part of this trip, and I'm learning so much, as I always do at TJC. I love it.
Oh, wow. And Daryl, did you have a question for Angel? Because you know the fire Angel brings. And you've seen her on the ground in Florida, in Jacksonville. You've seen her doing amazing work when we were in Orlando, training all those, 100 young people to get out there and be activists. And you've seen her in D.C. She was just with us at the Supreme Court, raising all kind of cane about the Louisiana versus Calais case, where they're trying to take away our congresspeople by taking away their districts and making it, quote, unconstitutional, when we know we need redress for the racism that exists out here. So what question would you like to pose to Angel, Daryl?
Angel, one of the interesting things that did occur, I think, on this trip was that, prior to going to the site where Fannie Lou Hamer gave her speech, you also had a chance to go through Salem, North Carolina, and some of the lesser-known areas of New Jersey. And you had an opportunity to meet somebody, and this ties into that Voting Rights Act, whose father was the doctor that administered aid to Amelia Boynton in Selma, Alabama, during the first attempted crossing of the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And he shared with you, journals and information and signatures and stuff from the 1965 movement that, he on, I believe he said, the third crossing or crossback Sunday had the opportunity to do. Can you share with the listeners what that was like?
That was so intimate and beautiful. As a former history major, I love everything that has to do with not only Black history but American history. I love to drive, so driving through some of the lesser-known areas of New Jersey has been beautiful. I live in Florida, and everything is green and hot. So to see the colors change, to see the trees change colors and leaves falling like rain, it has been gorgeous. I'm really enjoying everything about this, but the signatures, the messages that people from Bloody Sunday and from Selma were able to leave to us, because he is preserving that Black history so that we can pass it down to us. And now I feel like he was passing the torch to us. We were able to take pictures of some of the pages in the book, things that stuck out to myself. I saw John Lewis's signature in wet ink for the first time, and that was super cool. And I am just in awe by those who are able to not only preserve our history, but to teach it as well in a way that is encouraging, in a way that is inclusive, in a way that makes you want to preserve it as well.
Wow. Daryl, we'll be forever grateful to Mr. Maddox for taking time out. The one thing that I thought was amazing, folks, if you're listening, you might remember that in the movie Selma, you saw Bloody Sunday when they attacked those marchers who were trying to march for the right to vote. And one of the things that we know is that John Lewis was really seriously injured. Well, Mr. Maddox's father was the doctor who treated John Lewis after he was beaten on the Pettus Bridge in 1965. But here we are, new generation of amazing, wonderful activists who are out here being freedom riders. Cameron, when we were in church, when we were in church, the minister at the first church we went to, he talked about the reason why men didn't vote for Kamala Harris. And, of course, we're being nonpartisan here, but he had a message about sexism, right? And, when you heard him going in, did he go in hard? Wow, we're all still like, whoa, what do you got to say about that sermon and about what that meant to all of us?
That first of all, shout out to Union Baptist Church and Pastor Simeon Spencer, which is also the home church of our Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, who is here in New Jersey as well. And it was wonderful to worship in person with her at her home church. Pastor Spencer gave an amazing sermon where even I, as a preacher myself, was looking. I can't wait to try my hand to do that again. But what he mentioned, that's right, Angel, it was out of Isaiah 59, when the enemy comes in like a flood. He gave it to us in a much different perspective of God's flood that comes up against the enemy's flood. And he mentioned so many times about how there is a flood in the forecast, and that's exactly what we're experiencing here. That's why we're in New Jersey, actually. It reignited the fight, of course, as we're igniting change, as the show is called. It reignited the fight of why we're here, because we understand Angel coming from Florida, Makayla coming from Philly, myself coming from Chicago, all because there literally is a flood in the forecast of our voting rights. And so as we've talked about this, even to be able to go back to our freedom fighter, Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. I really now, Attorney Arnwine, understand why she said she was sick and tired of being sick and tired, because these are basic rights that we're fighting for. And I believe it was even Dr. Martin Luther King that says, I'm tired of marching for something that should have been mine that at birth. And so we're here to really just ignite this flame and keep this going. But Pastor Spencer laid it out to us in a biblical context that was really the perfect start to this kind of activation. And I just can't praise that sermon enough. And I implore those to go back and look at Union Baptist Church out of, I believe that was in some part of New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey. Right. Trenton, New Jersey, Pastor Simeon Spencer. You need to know about that flood, the flood that is in the forecast. He did mention about how these different things, we're not going to be partisan, of course, but the voter apathy that has happened to us when qualified individuals have been put on the ballot and have lost that ballot because not that they were not qualified or validated or anything, but because we had voters that did not come out and do their due diligence. So we're here not to tell people who to vote for, but to exercise your right to be able to get out and vote. We saw some people on the boardwalk who said, hey, I'm not going to vote. The vote doesn't work for us. It's the government is a scam. So he wanted to go, Attorney Arnwine, he refused our button. But we kept talking to him. We were hollering at him. And he eventually said, you know what, I'll take the button. I'll see. And so that's all we're really even considered running for office. As Makayla, it was Makayla that told him, if you got so much to say, why don't you run? And he said, you know what, I should run, because he's got a lot to talk about. That's exactly what we're doing to combat the flood that is in the forecast. Shout out to Pastor Spencer.
Yes. All right, Daryl.
Cameron. Right, and Cameron, folks, they're hearing you talk about this flood, and they're like, what in the world is he talking about, a flood and a church? Can you just share with our audience briefly what you're talking about when you're talking about a flood and the response to the flood, particularly in today's political climate?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in Isaiah chapter 59, that's where you see where it would say, thank you so much, where it says, where are we? Which one? There it is. From the west, people will fear the name of the Lord, and from the rising of the sun, they will revere his glory. It says, for he will come in. He, meaning the Lord, will come in like a pent-up flood that the breath of the Lord drives along. And so when the enemy kind of comes up, and we know there's a political enemy, whatever your political enemy is, there is a political enemy that's going on that is coming against us. But the wonderful thing that Pastor Spencer reminded us is that God himself will then come in like a pent-up stream. And that pent-up stream builds power of righteousness all along the way, that when he finally comes in, he comes in rushing like anything else that would come against us. And so basically it's really a paraphrase of greater is he that's in us than he that is in the world, he that's in this political system. So we're just doing our part to combat the flood, Attorney Jones. That's all we're doing. We're using our God to be able to go against those who want to come against us.
Yes, this election day, we are the flood.
Exactly.
We are the flood. Yes. Yes.
And, we talked a little bit about Fannie Lou Hamer earlier, and it just reminds me of her saying nobody's free until everybody's free. And that is what we are doing here in New Jersey, and allowing people to know that they have rights, their power is at the ballot, and that we have to carry on the spirit. We have to carry on the torch of people knowing freedom through participation is real, and that liberation through their vote is what needs to happen in this moment.
All right now. I'm sitting here, Daryl, and I'm watching. Did you see what just happened? A car was driving and happened to see all of this assembly happening with the NAACP and to protect our votes, and stopped and asked questions, and now she's getting her car taped up to join the votercade. What'd you say? Oh, wonderful.
And that's what this is all about, Barbara, is that getting the word out, getting out so that people recognize that it's voting season, that it's time to get your vote on, where you are to put forward your power. And, Barbara, I can think of no one that's been more committed, more welcoming to the Transformative Justice Coalition, our fellows that came to Atlantic City and led the votercade throughout Atlantic City and then ended up at the Fannie Lou Hamer convention area than Mayor Smalls. So we certainly want to welcome Mayor Smalls to Igniting Change. Welcome, Mayor Smalls.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me to your wonderful listening audience. And it's a great day here in the city of Atlantic City.
Yes, and tell us about your background. How did you become mayor? Why did you become mayor? And one question that I know most people don't know the answer to, and you can tell us about it. When we were driving around Atlantic City, we were learning about Atlantic City. And I know most people think it's just about casinos, but tell us more about what Atlantic City has to offer and why it's such an amazing city. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. First and foremost, me being involved in politics, I've always been a leader of my peer group, always been politically active. And here in the great city of Atlantic City, I'm a proud product of Atlantic City Public Schools. I graduated from Atlantic City High School, went on to Stockton University, which has an Atlantic City campus, graduated with a degree in communications, and then Cheney University, which is the first HBCU, graduated with a degree in educational leadership, master's degree in educational leadership. My wife is Dr. LaQuetta Small. She is the superintendent of schools here in the great city of Atlantic City. And we have two children, Jada is 17 and Marty Jr. 15. That's a little bit about my background. Before being involved in politics, I was a social caseworker in the city's welfare department. Then I went on to run a state program. It was a tri-partnership between the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, the Atlantic City Health and Human Services Department, and the Atlantic City Police Department. Atlantic City had a safe haven grant, and I was the person to go and run the programs for youth and seniors. Then I ran the Boys and Girls Club. Then 11 years in the Atlantic City school system as an athletic director, and then 1 year at a charter school as athletic director as well for elementary. I got my political bug, as I stated earlier, being involved in politics, from being a little kid, passing out flyers, always soaking up knowledge. And I decided to run for elective office. I ran for the Atlantic City Board of Education, where I was the top vote getter. I served as vice president for 2 years. And then I was very ambitious, and I wanted to run for city council. And I won, and I was elected as the youngest elected councilman in the history of Atlantic City, which Atlantic City is, was traditionally a good old boys network. Didn't like letting young people in. And I served city council for about 16 years, and then I became mayor of Atlantic City due to the resignation of the former mayor, which I stepped in because I was the city council president. And I'm sure that I got a little political history. I'm sure that I'm the first mayor in the history of the country to have to run 7 elections in about 2 years just to serve a full 4-year term. And we are, we're up. I'm not going to talk about that. We run next week. I'm not going to talk about that because this is nonpartisan. But, it's an important election period. And I tell people all the time, and especially young people, your local representation, matters the most because that's where you can run into someone at a supermarket, sporting event. The chances that you meeting the president of the United States is slim to none. So I get that everyone on social media likes to take pictures. Every 4 years, I voted. But every election is important. And election has consequences. And here in the state of New Jersey, it's a very big election because, it is about the values that we have as people being in jeopardy, some of the things that's going around the country. So I'm happy to be a part of the votercade yesterday. We went through Atlantic City communities, like I said, the Seawall, which is a popular destination that African Americans hang out, the community gather, people fish, just congregate, and more. Then we went on a little somber side. We spent time at the Atlantic City Rescue Mission, people who are currently, down and out on their luck, but they need some tender loving care too. We got a lot of people excited about the voting process. And then we went to the Fannie Lou Hamer statue because we take pride that magical moment in United States history was here in the great city of Atlantic City at the Democratic National Convention. And before casinos, I might add, the black businesses was the hub of Atlantic City, and Atlantic City was on the national stage, and it brought a lot of attention because things weren't done right. And Fannie Lou Hamer made that statement, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." All of that went down here in the great city of Atlantic City. And lastly, we ended at Browns Park, which the city refurbished into a park for youth and a nice playground. But it was a park where a lot of drug activity was going on, and it's in the name of Harold Brown, who was the first African American soldier from Atlantic City killed in World War II. So it was a lot of energy. We're very passionate, and it's our job. We have a week left, to get this election going and, make sure that, the election turns out for people. Because I tell people all the time, when you don't vote, it's like getting 2 votes for the people you don't want in office. So it was a great time.
Well, and Mayor Small, one of the things that is really interesting is that a lot of people, and particularly I would say some of our young people, sometimes they ask the question, why should I vote? What difference does the mayor make? Why should I care who the mayor is? And, in Atlantic City, who selects the chief of police for Atlantic City?
Yes, yes, the mayor selects the, chief of police, the fire chief, and all of the department heads. The city is ran in the mayor's vision, and I could tell you this administration has invested in human capital. We are giving people normally from the community who wouldn't dare get an opportunity. That application would be sitting on someone's desk. We're doing that in a big way. We're providing opportunities because we are an urban community, and some of the decisions that we make, people that are not from an urban community don't like. And that's okay, but we know what our people want, what our people need. We're giving incarcerated individuals second chance at life to mainstream back into the community and more. So we're taking care of our youth and seniors, who are our 2 most precious resources. So it matters because no one has run the city with the programs and services that we're offering as Mayor Small has done. So we tell everybody all the time, elections have consequences.
All right. And Mayor Small, tell us what, when you look at your years of being mayor, which are not many, but when you look at those years, what are you the most proud of?
I'm the most proud of that we are taking care of our people. When I came in, I said the first and foremost thing is we would change how we deal with our taxpayers. Under Mayor Small, 6 straight years of a property tax decrease. Moody's and Standard & Poor's of Wall Street are raving at the city's finances. We're under a, quote, state takeover. However, Moody's and Standard & Poor's gave the city a positive outlook and said that, the improved management of the city under the Small administration. One former mayor fired 52 rec workers because they wasn't in tune and in touch, knowing that the youth and seniors are our 2 most precious resources. We brought the recreation program back bigger than ever. We have youth services. That's for kids who don't play sports. And Mayor Small has put his money where his mouth is. Over the last 3 years, I gave away $3 million. I'm going to say that again, $3 million in college scholarships for Atlantic City residents to go to school. And we are sponsoring over 400 kids over the next 4 years to go to a college tours to visit various HBCUs. So, we're not on the political stomp just saying kids, kids, kids. We put our money where our mouth is. We're big in the multicultural space. We support the LGBTQ plus community. The city is clean and safe. Crime is down. Development is up. Taxes are down. Infrastructure. We've invested $5.8 million in technology, citywide camera program. The whole city is under surveillance. And with AI capabilities to assist our police department. And under my watch, the great city of Atlantic City is now a majority minority police department. So we're very, very happy about that.
Is that a first that the police department now is a majority minority? Is that a first?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
And Mayor, you had a lot of choices on that route yesterday, and one of your choices was to go to the homeless shelter, one of the homeless shelters. And our young people got out there and interacted and talked to people about their right to vote. I want you to tell everybody why it was important that we stop at that homeless shelter.
Because, again, this administration believes in human capital. I'm the first mayor in the history of Atlantic City to start a homeless division. Each and every day we have guys and gals going out in the streets, not just to move them, but to offer them services. As you know, a lot of people have sicknesses and, mental issues. And sometimes, them getting a helping hand can transition them back into society. However, we do also know that if they utter the word no, that they don't want or need help, that there's nothing that we can do. At the end of the day, we're all God's children, and we're all, some people, a lot of America is a paycheck away from being in that situation.
Yes, and can you, the other thing, we have been talking before you were able to join us about the visit to Boardwalk Hall to see the Fannie Lou Hamer statue and all of the amazing storytelling about her historic speech, her historic presence, her historic interaction that forced the Democratic Party to give up its segregationist ways. Tell us how did you feel seeing our young people, our amazing freedom riders, standing there at the Fannie Lou Hamer statue?
Yes. Listen, I'm all about young people. We, as I told you, some of the aforementioned things that we've done, we put our money where our mouth is. I was interacting with them. They were very excited to be a part of the process. But not only the statue being there, but to be in the same exact building that she made that iconic remark and stood up, for freedom and justice. The same exact building. That's what I wanted people to know, because someone said, hey, we're going to see this. I said, not only is it the statue, it's in the same exact building. So they got to taste a little bit of history, and Atlantic City will forever be connected to Fannie Lou Hamer. So it was exciting for the young people to get that opportunity.
And it was really cool, Barbara, and I guess this is patting ourselves on the back a little bit, is that, to go through Atlantic City on that motorcade with the mayor lead the way and the member of the city, I think the city council that was also part of that parade. But we didn't have just the John Lewis placards, right? We had the Fannie Lou Hamer placard.
That's right,
How
we sure
appropriate
did.
to have Fannie Lou Hamer riding through this motorcade, through Atlantic City, where she gave that iconic speech. Just incredible, Barbara. Just, I think that there are more people asking for those Fannie Lou Hamer placards than we had placards. It's just incredible.
Right, we ran out. I mean, Daryl, once again, as I said at the beginning of this show, your creativity is amazing, because that was your idea. You said, we love John Lewis. He is our icon. You said, but we got to put Fannie Lou Hamer up there. And you did that a year ago, folks. So this was not just for Atlantic City. Mayor, I want you to tell the people of New Jersey, and remember, this is an international show, so people are listening all over the country, and there are elections all over this nation on November 4th. California has a big one. There's a lot of major elections. Will you please tell people from your vantage point as mayor why people need to vote? We're nonpartisan, but why is it that people need to get out there and exercise that sacred, precious right to vote?
Listen, it's simple. No vote, no voice. People complain all the time, but don't want to participate in the process unless it's cool. And what I mean by that, the social media wave on the various social platforms when it's a presidential race. Our forefathers died for the right to vote, and people. It's just simple. You got people who live 20 steps away from a polling place and won't even vote, but got all the complaints in the world. And we said it. Election has consequences either way. So it's important that you exercise your right to vote. And on every election, it's an important election here in New Jersey. I know there's a governor's race in Virginia and other important elections throughout our country. So no matter where you live at, please take the time out and just go vote. They're making voting easier than ever. Like in New Jersey, we now have early voting, 7 days of early voting. So it's no excuse that, I got to go out of town on election day. I can't do a vote by mail ballot. I can't do this. They are setting it up that you can vote 45 days in advance by mail, 7 days in advance in the polling place, and the actual election day. So it is no excuse. Please get out and vote. It is very important, and our life and way of life depends on it.
Well, one thing that TJC believes in, the Transformative Justice Coalition, we believe that people should see voting as something that's joyful to do. That it's important that you vote. It's important that you use your power, your personal power to vote. And that we really want people to know that it's affirmative. You want to vote for an affirmative reason, because when you go out there and you vote for the right people to be head of your schools, when you vote for the right people to be mayor, the right people to represent you in Congress, that's when you see your power rise to its maximum level. That's when you're the strongest. That's when you're the most powerful. So we want people not to just feel that somehow this is a burden. This is a joyous, wonderful act to vote. So let me, Mayor, thank you so much.
And, Barbara, people are starting to hear some horns. People are starting to hear some horns, Barbara, and you know what that means. That means TJC is in the street in a motorcade.
We're rolling.
We're going along. My goodness. And Barbara, when you talked about the joy of voting, we celebrate the right to vote. We celebrate it, particularly in this season, in this age, in this climate. We're celebrating that right to vote, and that's what it's all about. But, Barbara, I know you were getting ready to bring someone up. Who was that?
I was getting ready to bring I was asking the mayor if he had any parting words, and then I was going to ask Cameron and all of our wonderful freedom riders to tell people why they need to vote and why they are here in Jersey. New Jersey, folks, we're riding through the state. The Transformative Justice Coalition and all our partners, we're riding through the state with the NAACP, with the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice, with the League of Women Voters. We're riding, and we're saying vote, vote, vote. So, Mayor, any last parting words, sir?
Listen, my parting words is participate in the process. Vote for the candidates that you think are best aligned with, your values. Vote for the candidates that demonstrate a will to get things done. Because like I tell people all the time, it's one thing they're not going to do and ask for a vote to say, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's another thing to get in the chair and govern. So we got 7 days left. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Just as much as you can be on social media and on your phone all day, keep that same energy, texting all your family and friends and tell them to get out. And I thank you guys for the amazing opportunity yesterday and to be on this international show today.
Well, thank you, sir.
So much,
we'll
Mayor.
be back. We'll be back.
And we have rolled up onto the campus of Rutgers University, New Brunswick. But we'll be back here, right, Barbara? We'll be back.
Yes, we'll be back. Thank you, Mayor. All right, so Cameron, we're rolling through the campus. People have been waving and dancing and all other kind of stuff as they see this motorcade moving. Cameron, what does it mean for you as we roll through this campus?
Well, certainly I always want us to be able to reach all of our voters, but certainly our young people, because in this day and age, the Gen Zers, the millennials, even the Gen Xers that are coming up now, we have a very, very, very large voting block. And I'll tell you why it's important to vote in 60 seconds. Literally everything that regulates your life is controlled by some piece of legislation, by some legislator that you should know. And as the mayor mentioned, not just a presidential election, as it's been said once before. I always like to tell people the president of the United States may never come down your block, but your county commissioners will, your assembly people will, your state legislatures will. I encourage everyone to know what's going on at the city and state levels of your government.
All right now. And Makayla, what's your parting word to everybody about why you're here, why they got to vote?
Yes. So,
hey, we need a waiver at the front.
Is there a waiver?
In the background, you just hear everyone getting off the bus. We're on Rutgers campus as we speak. There's a bunch of students, I want to say about 40 students waiting at a bus stop, and we are about to make sure that they know that they can cast their ballots. There are special laws and rules for students.
That's right.
And my parting role,
Get them buttons, get them buttons, get some buttons on those students.
Yeah, we're grabbing signs and buttons as we speak right now. They're so excited. But my parting word would have to be, in the state of New Jersey, youth turnout in the last census was only 27%. There's states or counties like Camden who allow certain young people to vote 16 years old in their local school board elections. And I think that is very transformative, as young people need to learn how to get civically engaged. And because there's states. Yes, grab the buttons. There are states.
Yeah, we good.
Data that says that when you get young people involved at a younger age, that they do stay engaged civically longer. So that is so important.
Okay. Thank you, Makayla. We are in our last minute. We are in our last 2 minutes. Daryl, we just want everybody also to know that we're concerned. There's one thing that we want to say. You might have read that the Department of Justice has said that they're going to send monitors to New Jersey to monitor the county of Passaic, which has been growing in its Latino population that is now 43% Latino. Apparently that's the basis, because they haven't said anything else other than that the Republican Party said they didn't like that and that they wanted somebody to make sure that whatever. It's just nonsense. So, Daryl, we wanted people to know that we are here and that we will protect the voters in Passaic. We will protect the voters everywhere. Daryl, take us home.
And you're absolutely right, Barbara. Folks, don't get confused, because we say the Department of Justice is out there to monitor votes. Doesn't mean they're out there to help you vote. So know that you can contact the New Jersey Institute of Social Justice, and they have a hotline that's available. You also have 866 Our Vote available for you if you run into any issues in the voting area. We're very thankful for Cameron Barnes, thankful for Makayla Myers, thankful for all of the guests that we had on the show today. Mayor Smalls, thank you so much for Mayor Smalls for being with us today. Thank you from Florida, our riders from Florida. Thank you for all of our riders from Philadelphia. They've been all over the place, Barbara. It has been an exciting show. Folks, get off the sidewalks, get into the streets, get into some good trouble, and be certain if you're in a voting area, a voting state today and through this week and up through November the 4th, get your vote on. Until next Tuesday noon, Eastern Standard Time. Peace, everybody.
And Daryl, everybody vote early. Vote today. 8 o'clock the polls. Vote early. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Urban One Incorporated, Radio One, or any of its subsidiary companies.
The preceding program was paid for by Barbara